There you go, another amazing innovation showcase, this time talking about IoT. How are we connecting the world's devices, creating true mobile interaction so anybody can do anything from anywhere and making sure that all apps are doing exactly what they need to do for your organization. Great innovation showcase with Liz Santoni, the amazing Susie Wee, one of my favorite people here at the show, heading up our powerhouse at Cisco Developer Network. A lot of IoT use cases. I want to keep talking IoT right now, and fortunately right here in the studio with me, I've got the exact person to be able to do it with me here. So we're going to turn the cameras over. I'm going to shift even a little closer to you. Samuel Pasquier. Samuel is our Director of Product Management here. Oh, we'll go over here, great. Director of Product Management here in Cisco, and I'm so glad to have you with me here today. It's been an amazing conversation about IoT since the beginning of the kickoff here with David Geckler. Let's talk first of all, how do people get started with IoT and with us here at Cisco?
Yeah, thank you, Steve. IoT is all about having the data to be able to transform the business. Right? Your customer want to grow their business, they want to optimize their process, they want to have a better quality and customer experience for their customer. But to be able to do that, you need the data. And how do you get the data? Well, you need to connect things. You need to connect things, be able to extract the data, to do something smart about it, right?
And security as well. It's not just about connecting that data, it's making sure that it's secure as it's connected.
Well, that's exactly true, because when you're connecting the data, when you're in the office space, it's very, I would say, secure in the sense like the physical infrastructure is secure. But when you are, like in the video this morning, you're an harbor, you're a factory, you are a utility, it's across a country, across the states, across a full region. Mm-hmm. Well, security now, it has the notion of physical security. How are you going to secure your device? How are you going to make sure that no one is tampering with your device? So obviously there's security of the device, but security of the network, security of the application, it's very critical information that we need to carry.
Absolutely, and the other interesting aspect as people are getting started with IoT is the concept of containerization. If we're binning it properly, that data has to be accessible and usable within the moment. We can't wait until it's set into the container, we go back and get it. They need to use that data right away, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what our customers do. Actually, they connect, they put their device next to the machine or the asset generating the data. They can transform it, translate it, and take reaction, react to the data very, very quickly. So that's why we build this capability in our product.
It's great. So we're here, we're in Barcelona, in this stunning city, and this magnificent show and all this energy around us. Let's talk about what is new here at the event. So not just what people here will see, but those of us tuning in online will see.
Yeah, sure. So it's a big launch for us for IoT. We are heavily investing in the IoT business. And for us, we realize IoT is not only about product. It's really about blueprint, because our customer needs solutions, they need help to be able to deploy your solution. So the major thing of our launch is obviously 3 new blueprints to help our customer, from manufacturing, what we call industrial automation, to distribution automation for utilities and remote and mobile assets. So we have those blueprints where we do testing, we do security best practice, we work with partners to do that, as well as product to implement all those different solutions. So on the product side, you may have heard with Liz this morning in the keynote, it's all about switching. So we have a brand new line of ruggedized switching. First time that we have a Catalyst ruggedized portfolio and built on iOS 6E. At the same time, if we do it with Catalyst, we'll do it with ISR.
Absolutely.
So we have a routing platform as well, built on top of iOS 6E, same feature set, same management tool for our customer.
And Liz was doing such a good job this morning of giving us the holistic view of the approach to IoT, because it's not just structure independent. We're not just talking about the network or about equipment. We're talking about going beyond just the software delivery model for IoT and making it extensible throughout the entire infrastructure.
Yeah, and that's really what it is our customer need to deploy this connectivity beyond the office space. And what they want is, once they do that, they realize the complexity of doing so. So they want to really have the same way of managing the network, the same way of implementing the security policy across. They want to have one single pane of view to be able to do that. And luckily, we've been managed by DNA Center, so the same tools that they have used to, the same concept of intent-based networking is implementable and usable on our product and on the IoT edge now.
And you just hit on such an important topic there. Another thing we heard from David Geckler right out of the gate at the keynote this morning, simplify, simplify, simplify. How do we take the complexity out of IoT envelopment within a company? How do we get them to adopt IoT faster with more confidence and know that they're not going to get stymied in the process?
That's an awesome question, because the reality, if when you want to deploy networking at the edge, the guy who's going to go and deploy the product is the guy who knows how to use the hammer.
Oh, yeah.
He may not know how to configure networking. So it's all about automation. It's all about IT being empowered to implement the configuration, configure the system, but with automation. So the guy in the field can go and plug the box, automatically call home, and get the right configuration, and everything is automated. And that's really what it is about, is how we need complexity of the technology because it's complex problems that we are solving. But we need to simplify that for the end user so you don't see the complexity, you don't feel the complexity, you feel it's easy to use, and it's secure.
Great. So we talked about first steps. In terms of how these new industrial IoT platforms are benefiting our customers, can you give me one or two great use case examples of how they are really growing with our Cisco support?
Yeah, so we have a lot of use cases, and you're going to get some customer later on. But one of the big use cases around utilities. The grid are transforming, and they want to connect the grid all across the different country. So obviously, it's a big use case for us. We have a lot of customers. You're going to get into this later on today. We have energy this morning in the keynote, so that's a big use case. But that's really industrial driven. So sometimes, our IT customers are like, well, industrial, that's not me.
Right.
But what we realize is every customer we talk to, they deliver a product, they build a product, they deliver services. And what do? They have a warehouse, they have a fleet of vehicles to deliver their product. So they need to extend connectivity beyond the office space. And IoT, it's also about that. It's not only about industrial use cases, it's about those use cases where your customer, that you, the simple, I would say, IT guy in the company, can go and provide useful connectivity to influence your business, right?
Fantastic, really exciting. Last thing I want to ask you, if people want to learn more about what's going on in Cisco and IoT, what do they do?
Well, cisco.com/go/IoT or the World of Solution. We have amazing product and amazing display.
Right over that way. Samuel, I wish we could talk for another half an hour. Thank you so much for your time. Samuel Pasquier, everybody, and in fact, we are going to continue the conversation over in IoT in the WAS. My buddy Igarim is out there in the WAS taking a look at these new IoT platforms and what it is they're bringing to the market. They are launching here at Cisco Live. Igarim, are you ready to roll?
Thank you, Steve. I'm here at World of Solutions at the IoT booth together with Tim Seghetti. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Aaron. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. So Tim is a principal engineer for IoT business, and he joined IoT team recently from the software-defined architecture team. Well, glad to have you here. Tim, could you tell me more? What are the top challenges that our customers face in IoT?
Absolutely. So the three biggest challenges are flexibility. There's so many different use cases in IoT, from manufacturing to transportation to building systems and so on and so forth. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. The second biggest challenge is scalability. We have tens of billions of devices coming online every year. You need to find a way to manage those simply, effectively, and securely. And that's actually even the third challenge, is security. We hear sometimes in the news of companies getting hacked through their IoT devices, like Target, who lost the customer data of 110 million customers through an attack that came through their heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems. Or, for instance, last year, a North American casino got hacked through a thermometer that was in the fish tank in their front lobby. So with a greatly expanded threat vector, companies, these are the biggest challenges: scalability, flexibility, and security.
Yes, I can totally relate to that. So a lot of my customers are in industrial space, right, such as container terminals in the Netherlands. And this sounds spot on. Thank you. Well, tell us more about the new IoT platforms that were announced.
Very good, I'm happy to. So these new platforms are IE3000 series switches and our IR1101 rugged ISR routers meet all of these challenges. For instance, let me talk to you first about flexibility. Well, we have flexibility based on the rugged design. So these can go pretty much anywhere. For instance, they could be monitoring oil fields in the extreme north where regular catalyst switches wouldn't even boot up. A regular switch won't boot up if it's below zero or freezing. But these can go all the way down to -40, or they could tolerate extreme heat. Like they could be placed on anywhere in the planet up to, plus 60 degrees Celsius. So any location in the world, these can function. They're ruggedized, they can take shock, so they can be on manufacturing floors, any place like that. So we have tremendous flexibility there. We have flexibility in hardware. Like say we need a use case where we need more Ethernet ports, whether they're regular or PoE ports, we just expand these modules. We can go up to 16 if we want, or we can even add some combinations of copper and fiber ports as we need on demand. And so we have tremendous flexibility built into the platforms themselves. Let's take a look at the router. Same idea. Right now, for instance, majority of our devices, if they're connecting over long-range wireless, are doing over 3G or 4G. Well, 5G is right around the corner. When it's time to upgrade, we just do a swappable module and we expand on that. Or if you want redundant solutions, we can just add an expansion pack on top, and now we have dual 3G, 4G, 5G, and they could be giving you radio redundancy or carrier redundancy. Could be one connected to one SP and then another SP, depending on their coverage ranges, and then you got all sorts of options available to you. Extremely low power as well. This takes about 10 watts, which is like 1/10 of a regular light bulb.
Wow, this sounds great. Sounds like we've got some real powerful devices, and I love the flexibility, right? That's exactly what you were mentioning. So Tim, how about segmentation? Because like, for example, for my customers, say take a container terminal, right? They are scared of getting hacked because obviously there are so many entrances, and they are so kind of very cautious with their security and infrastructure. So what do we do in terms of segmentation?
Yeah, absolutely. So these devices, they run iOS XE, just like your other Cisco routers and Cisco switches, which means they have the same programmable interfaces and same capabilities. For example, with our industrial Ethernet switches that we're featuring here, they are SDA ready, software defined access ready. So we can basically segment them with DNA Center as easily with an intent-based policy as simply as dragging and dropping that says, okay, I'm going to put my IoT devices like HVAC systems or security cameras or badge readers or anything like that in an isolated network, a virtual network, and this simple step alone would have prevented those attacks that I mentioned, like Target or that casino. Very simple, easy to use. You can see drag and drop, very simple to operate UI, and a single pane of glass for your carpeted enterprise and your extended enterprise.
Nice. Thank you, Tim. This is really great. Great to hear that we integrate the industrial devices into the SDA platform, right? I think the software-defined access means a lot for our industrial business. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And now back to the studio.
All right, thanks so much, Exim. Appreciate it. Great conversation. Glad to be getting more and more and more about IoT, a big part of the talk here in Barcelona. We're going to continue that IoT conversation right now. And I've got two fantastic customers here with us who are going to talk about their own experiences with the Cisco IoT platform. Let me briefly introduce on this side, Gael Sitzia, CEO of NG Solar, and back over here, Emmanuel Velalta, Head of Network Access in the Telecom Department at Enedis. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Glad to have the time here with you. So, we're going to get personal with each of these companies because we really want to know how you are putting IoT to work for your organization. So, I'll sort of go one by one here, but really I want this to be more of a group conversation. Let's start with how you have deployed Cisco's new industrial IoT platform. And Gael, we'll start over here on this side with you.
Well, at NG Solar, we are constructing and deploying solar farms through the world, so we need to address globally some specific solar farms and be able to control and command this energy production.
And is this the type of demand that came from your customer base? Was it an industry matter of being able to make sure that you were staying in play and staying effective within the industry? What sort of drove your decision to begin incorporating these capabilities?
Well, we essentially it was to securize our network and be able to have anybody around the world being able to connect directly to the solar farms. And that's why we needed Cisco help to redefine the industrial architecture of our solar farms.
That's great. And I want to come back to you in a couple of moments and talk more about how the customers are using that particular capability. So, Emmanuel, let's come over to you and ask the same question with regards to what Enedis is doing and why you brought Cisco IoT capabilities on board.
Mm-hmm. So yes, Enedis is the main DSO in France, the main distribution system operator in France. So we manage the grid, 95% of the grid in France. And so we have a lot of customers, but we have more and more customers which are actually producers, like NG, for instance. So they generate electricity and they inject it into the grid. And we need more and more data to know what exactly happens on the grid so that the grid becomes smart. You know, the smart grid, we all want to achieve that. And we realized that we needed more and more IP devices on many places on the grid, on generation facilities, for instance, which are connected to the grid, to know what really happens in real time. And all the, yes, we have very important energy nodes and we have to put communication nodes on these energy nodes to know exactly how many kilowatts and so on, and what really happens on the grid.
So is it being able to extend the IP into areas that we were never able to do it before that has allowed us to take that data, use it in real time in the most effective fashion?
Mm-hmm. Yes, because actually we are in the middle of a change. We used to use only old legacy devices. We were quite happy with PSTN. Okay. But when you want something always on and you want new data updated every 10 minutes, you have to completely give up these old and obsolete devices. So we have, and all the new generation are IP native devices, and we were looking for the best routers, IP routers, to have this interface, this communication interface between the business devices and the IT and the data collection and the data, the monitoring. Monitoring is very important. So that's why this first step, we are deploying the first Cisco routers.
It's exciting stuff, and actually you came to exactly where I wanted to go with Gael next, is the why Cisco question. So I assume a lot of what Emmanuel is talking about is sounding very familiar in terms of moving away from the legacy history, which is sometimes very hard to let go of, but when we have these capabilities available, how do you go about onboarding, and why do you onboard utilizing the Cisco product?
Basically, it's to solve an issue that we have. We have to stabilize at one point the power grid, and we have to do it in real time, and we have to securize everything. So all those topics can be addressed using an industrial networking that basically is available by definition by the Cisco products, and all those services that basically Cisco address usually for all the customers. We were able to deploy it on solar farms. So basically, the issue that we have, basically to be able to control command all the solar farms, we need to do that in real time to be able to securize all the data and ensure that nobody will tamper it with. Other than that, we'll have some problem with productivity issues, but that means like less power for some part of the world. So.
Tell me about what the payoff is for the customer. What is the customer experience? They don't see all of the paddling that happens under the water. They get the end result. What is that result for them?
As far as our customers are really industrial customers, so the one that operates. That basically, if I don't have a phone call saying, I don't see my power farm anymore, my solar farm anymore, I'm happy, and that's basically what we have now. That basically the final customer, the one that operates and do the maintenance of the solar farms, is able to generate more power, of course, but don't have any latency or some disturbance in the operation of the solar farms.
And you know what, Emmanuel, let me ask you the same question. What is the COE? What is the customer use experience on this? What do they get in terms of a benefit about you incorporating all of these new IoT platform capabilities?
Well, there are different levels according to the customer. For instance, for a customer like Engie, the producer, a generator, we used to need to build a line, a copper line, to have a PSTN going to the solar or to the wind farm. So it was complicated, it was expensive. Now with the cellular router, in most cases we have a signal, so we just come with the device, we put the router with the SIM card, and it's on. So it's a painless, almost painless, and then they know that with this data, which are collected very frequently, we can offer new ways and quicker ways also to connect electrically to the grid. Sometimes we can offer new ways. We don't have to build large substations, kilometers of lines, and it allows us to have a very quicker and painless experience for customers like my neighbor. Hopefully.
Right? It's an ecosystem. We all cooperate with one another. In case we don't say it often enough, we are so grateful to have you aboard with Cisco and to have you be a part of the Cisco family here, and I'm glad that it's worked out so well, and we look forward to a future of a great deal more of it. So Gael, Emmanuel, thank you so much for the time here, for stopping by the studio. We're really glad to be involved with you here.
Thank you.
And we're going to toss it back out to the IoT booth over in the World of Solutions, and my good buddy Rob Boyd. How are you, Mr. Boyd?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, Steve. Thank you so much for asking, and I just want to thank our audience for joining us out here through the magic of real-time video technology. We are live and nationwide, actually much more than nationwide, we're international at this point. We are deep into the Cisco Showcase. If you come all the way down at the end of the world of solutions, we're all the way down at the end, almost to my hotel room. Frankly enough, unfortunately, there's not an exit over here, so it's still a long walk as we get over there. But specifically, we're in an area that has grown every single year. You can probably guess where I'm going next, because we've been talking about it all segment. We're in IoT. And when I think IoT, I think Richard Mullins. I want to introduce Richard for those who may not know who you are, although I doubt that.
Good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you as well, man. You guys have grown so much.
We have. You can see we're growing the products even as we speak, right here on the pedestals.
Well, this is funny, because this thing is a little bit unnaturally large. It'll eventually make it, oh, you can force it around. Look at that thing.
So we are going huge form factor now with our products.
Yeah, so why don't you explain what this is, because that's not real life size, although I like that.
Yes, actually, this is a real product that we've got right here. So what we're being talking about is, both in our keynote and what Liz and Vikas talked about today, is extending out these use cases out to the edge, so the Internet of Things. And when you think about your kind of network core, when you're using DNA Center, when you're using Catalyst, now we have the way of bringing in the parking lot, the port, the airport tarmac. We can bring that into the control plane, and we're showing those use cases on the booth. So come visit us. We'll show you all of the, right here I have a new router that we're bringing to market. And
get down here and look at this. Get down here and look at this router here for a second.
yeah, so key thing what we've been hearing about from our customers is, I want to install this, but as, for example, when I'm maybe moving from 3G, 4G, LTE, 5G, I don't want to have to go replace a router. What I want to do is be able to put this, like for example, in a kiosk, and then as my needs change as far as backhaul, I just pull these modules out, and then I can just change the module from 3G to 4G to LTE. And there it is right there. And so you just take this out, replace this, and then I don't have to take this out of the DIN-rail mount. So I've got this like on a upstream on a oil field pump, or I might have it in a traffic controller box at an intersection. I might have it inside of a kiosk at a fast food restaurant, right? And now the hardware stays, we just upgrade the network with whatever the capabilities, and we can also run IOX XE on these devices. So now we've got the ability of running applications at the edge. We install this, we can have a suite where we can cloud manage this, we can run VPN off of this, and then we're beginning to backhaul data into the data architecture that we've been talking about from the network core. So data center, tent-based networking, the ability to compute anywhere.
Well, I tell you what, I wonder, I'm going to just ask our cameraman here to just kind of pan around a little bit, nothing specific, but just look at how massive, if you look around here, can you explain a little bit about what we're seeing? What all can we be doing in this booth area?
Right, so it's about these products that I was just showing, but then we want to show the products and the use cases. So you come see us, we've got manufacturing, utilities, oil and gas, rail, roadways, cities, different types of parking lot or extended enterprise use cases that Tim just talked about. We take the products and then we install them into those types of areas. And the idea is it's very important for us to show for the guest, you're using this product in this location to do these sorts of functions. And we're always triangulating back to three themes around network control, security totally at the edge of your operational control plane, and then finally compute, because really what we're running is a massive distributed compute environment from the edge all the way up into the data center, private cloud, public cloud environment. So everything that's around us in the showcase, we use in these basically cloud to ground stories that we're telling that are all about enablement.
So really see it in action here, so we get the really good idea of exactly how far these things go. But what I heard you saying is most important, these are not islands of technology any longer. The same network fabric and the same operation, the same code level base gets extended well outside the carpeted environment.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we're now continuing to provide the customer with a single network control plane, compute plane, from our software capabilities that we got, SD-WAN, SD-Access, and then being able to manage these products in these environments.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so obviously we want everybody to come check this out. Just as a final point, where can anyone go that doesn't get a chance, of course, I think coming here and getting hands-on is the ideal.
Right.
We have a large audience watching us right now that are saying, oh, I wish I could be there, maybe next year, but there's probably some stuff we could do online for education, for learning, that type of thing. And
Yeah, we can bring Internet of Things to you right now. All you need to do is just go click on Cisco.com. We had a great launch this morning that we did with David in the keynote, and then Liz, we had just another session here. We've got all that great launch collateral that I just talked about online, so we can walk you through these stories, both the products, these use cases, and then in these industry capacities, and drive you into a lot of the validated designs we have of exactly how to design these elements up. They're all based against use cases, like I want to monitor machines and things like that. So go online, Cisco.com, you'll see us in the mastheads, or select us as one of the business units. So you'd see enterprise networking, you should see IoT or Internet of Things. Click on that, and then we'll take you all into our great content that we just refreshed and put up this morning. So you'll be among the first to see it.
yeah, so if you've already been there before, you're like, oh, I've already seen their stuff. No, you haven't, because it just got up. A lot of good stuff. Richard, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Pleasure.
Absolutely.
Steve, hello back at
Yeah,
the
Steve,
headquarters.
he says hello back to you in the studio, but here from the IoT floor, back in the Cisco Showcase, you got to come check it out. Come say hi to Richard when you come through. See you back.
Absolutely, Rob. Thank you so much, and thanks to Richard Mullen. You know, Richard and Scott Newman, they are kind of the driving force behind this IoT story over in the Cisco Showcase. It's a phenomenal collection of how we are connecting all aspects of the world, so thank you guys. I want to continue, I want to dive even deeper into IoT. We're going to look at a customer here and talk about industrial deployments of IoT. I've got Sabine Posey here with me, General Manager of Exim Fraud Group. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on the set.
Thank you for inviting us here in Cisco Live in Barcelona, and especially on this set.
It's kind of fun to have the dynamic all around us here as we talk, right?
Yeah, everyone is moving, everything is happening, and we are sitting here and talking.
It's just the two of us. We're
Yeah.
totally good. All right, so first thing I want you to do is kind of introduce us as what's going on with Exim Fraud, what it is that you're all about, and what you are doing with IoT today and with Cisco.
Okay, some years ago, as we graduated from computer science, we were 4 buddies, and we received a wild card to start a new business for software development and automation in utilities. Utilities is a tough area, conservative people, so after a few years, we understood what are their challenges. So we realized that we need to change how they are thinking, to change networking, and to change the operational area, where is their core business. Operations in utilities have not changed for years. So we wanted to bring the best out of IT and to replicate it there. So that's how we came up with the idea to create a product, a virtual RTU, a software that would replace a box and will do its job better and more efficient.
So then what does IoT do to take that to the next step? So you now have this capability, you know what it is that you want to accomplish, but you dive in and now you need new industrial applications. How does Cisco begin to help support you in that next step?
Cisco, with its infrastructure and its DevNet platforms and all the tools that has converted the router to an edge computing device, allowed us to focus on what we do best. So, you know, we were lazy. We didn't want to take care of security, complexity, software deployment. It's a lot of stuff which we don't want to lose our interest and our focus in doing that. So we use the Cisco infrastructure for all these simple things, and we focus on what we do best. And we focus on innovation, and we focus on changing the way the utilities go and they work. And this is due to the fact that utilities work in a very restricted environment, and for them it's very difficult to innovate. Cisco helps us by providing us all the necessary tools so that we can deploy scale-up projects, or changing from a simple POC to a full-scale project is quite easy.
So in terms of that expansiveness, what does it mean for the industry? How does the industry get the payoff from what it is that you're able to do now?
Well, our customers have loved the experience of these solutions in partnership, Cisco and Exim Fraud together, because it offers them the opportunity to have a future-proof solution. Basically, we can provide them a solution that they can test before they use. They can try it in a lab, in a sandbox, without having any investment to do in a laboratory device, in a laboratory set. So that helps the customer appreciate the solution. Also, by separating the software functions from the hardware function, basically we turn the hardware into a platform. We bring virtualization into the OT. So the customer can replace the software, replace the hardware, upgrade it. If something new happens, he needs something new, he can just use the same platform and put a new application. Similar to a data center but on a small device at the edge, like the one that Richard just showed.
I love that because this is the power of choice being handed to the customer. We're not making them make the choice between whether they're going the software service route or the hardware route. They choose what's right for them and they scale according to their customer, right?
Exactly. The customer knows better what suits for them in the IoT environment. IoT doesn't seem similar from one customer to another. Each has its individual needs, its own needs. So you need to allow the customer to make a choice. So these platforms allow the customer to buy a solution which is already done, to develop its own solution, or to find a partner, an ISV, and develop with him the solution he needs.
It's perfect. Let's kind of do a little future vision. Let's gaze into our crystal ball and let's figure out what's going to happen maybe a year or so down the line right now. How do you think we are going to see the future of these Cisco IoT industrial applications and how they benefit the entire marketplace?
I think Cisco IoT developments are just starting up. Until now, where there were use cases just to show the potential. Now we see actual businesses. Utilities is a conservative business, like I said, and they are moving towards IoT. They are moving towards software industries. And utility is one of the vectors for IoT because they are facing a digital transformation. It's something that is due to happen, must happen. They need to integrate renewables. They need to face e-mobility. They need to face storage, prosumers, a lot of changes. This forces the utility to be agile, to be able to use technologies that today are not invented, but they should be able to use them tomorrow. So that creates the need for a platform on the edge.
It's so great because the customer is helping to drive the industry. We are being responsive. We're working with great partners like you to be able to deliver exactly what the marketplace is demanding from us. And it starts at an event like this. We get ideas, we share, we have great conversations. What needs to take place? And then how do we create that capability for the marketplace? What do you hear from customers in terms of what they want to hear from you next at your company?
Our customers are excited about this new developments. They would like to see more solutions. They would like to see more partners because this allows them to choose. They want to have the power of choice. So I think that this is what is the secret behind all these people here. It creates an ecosystem of partners which can provide a reliable solution for the customer, for the end user.
It's great. Again, it is about community, it's about connecting, it's about putting people in the room and having great conversations like we've just had right now. So Sabine, thank you. If people want to learn a little bit more about XCOM, where do they go?
First of all, they could go to our website, epg.ro, and also they should look up on the sandboxes of DevNet and DevNet Exchange. We just launched a new DevNet lab. They can test the solution, they can play with it, and they can connect actual assets to the IoT world. They can digitize assets.
Sounds so good. Pleasure to talk with you. Thank you for taking the time in the studio. Really glad to have you with us. Congratulations on all the great successes. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. We're going to cut away for just a couple of moments. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.